Rambo 2. I want to talk about Die Harder. Get what I'm going at? This joke's working.
3, 2, 1, bro.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Nick Murphy. I'm one half of the Brothers Murph, and this is Metagame Minute. Metagame Minute is a twice-weekly segment where Mike and I talk about anything and all things we want to talk about in board gaming. What I want to talk about today is sequels in board games. We get sequels in board games, and I think that's kind of cool. And it makes sense, really, that there are kind of like direct sequels and then kind of like spiritual sequels, if you want to put it that way, which again makes a lot of sense from like a marketing standpoint. They're like, oh, these people already really like this universe or really like this game. What if we gave them this game again, but like taken further or switched up a little bit, or, you know, or in the same theme, but a little bit different, that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of that in board gaming. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really nice because you're like, oh, I love this game. I'm gonna love this game. And again, that's a smart thing to do from a marketing standpoint. And so I kind of just want to talk about some of your favorite sequels out there in board gaming. As I was thinking about this Metagame Minute, I was looking around at our shelf here. I realized that we actually have like a decent amount of like sequel games. Sometimes we have like the original and the sequel. Sometimes we just have the sequel, I guess. And I think that's kind of interesting. So I kind of wanted to just talk about it a little bit. One common sequel that gets brought up a lot is King Domino and Queen Domino. Now we have both those. King Domino is a very, very light, very quick tile placement domino type game. And Queen Domino is the same thing, except for with more game in it. Everything in King Domino is in Queen Domino. Queen Domino just has more stuff to go along with it. So this is a very, very true like sequel, like the big brother or big sister of little King Domino here. Yeah, big sister, Queen Domino, queens for life, baby, woman power. I think that's a very interesting example of like a game and then a game that is literally the first game, but just bigger. And then there's like sequels that are in the same universe. An example of something like that is Above and Below and Near and Far. These are two games set in the same universe, as all Ryan Lockett games are set in the same universe for the most part. But they're very, very similar games. They're both storytelling games. They have a big book of stories and you're exploring stuff and going through the stories and stuff like that. They both have a bit of worker placement, but Near and Far, just in terms of my right arm, is much more tired than my left arm because this game's way, way bigger. Above and Below is actually a pretty straightforward worker placement game with some storytelling to it, whereas Near Far is a big campaign game with lots of story in it, where the story, if you're playing the campaign, starts to carry through the multiple kind of like episodes that you're playing through. And that's very, very much like a big step up, but kind of with the same things going on. Again, a lot of the game is similar, especially around the storytelling, but the storytelling tends to make a lot more sense in Near and Far. In Above and Below, it's great, but it's 100% random. You just roll some die, and that's the story that you read. In Near and Far, you're going to this specific place, and you're reading the story from that specific place. And that's really, really cool. Another sequel we don't have the original, but is Prodigal Cub. This is one of my favorite games. I really, really love this great worker placement game by Vladimir Suchy and CGE Games. But this is a sequel to the game Last Will. Last Will is a game where your rich uncle has died and whoever has the least amount of money is going to get the rich uncle's inheritance. So you are trying to blow all your money on fancy parties and taking your horse on a boat and all this kind of stuff and just really trying to hemorrhage all your money. It's a really great game. But there are some kind of fiddly bits to it and all that kind of stuff. And the Prodigal Cub came out and it takes the game a little farther and cleans up a little bit of that mess that was going on in Last Will. And so I really, really love the Prodigal Cub. But this, again, is kind of a straight sequel where the game is, again, pretty similar. Both worker placement, both on the medium heavy side. Same theme, same designer, everything like that. Really great games, but this is a straight up sequel to that, and it's a really good one, and one I actually prefer to the original. And then there's games that are more like spiritual sequels. An example for that we have is we have Suburbia, and then we also have Castles of Mad King Ludwig. They're both tile placement games, and they both center around the same mechanism of having a bunch of tiles out on the board, and then you have to pay a certain money to get certain ones. The difference is Castles Mad King Ludwig, one person sets the prices for all the tiles, whereas Suburbia, it's just you pick a tile and the rest slide down, you pick a tile, the rest slide down. Now these ones, unlike a lot of the other games, don't have the same theme. One is you're building a suburb, the one you're building a castle. They're both building, they're both tile placing, but like they don't live in the same universe. They don't live in the same world. They're kind of a spiritual successor. It's like Suburbia is a great tile placement game, and then Castles of Mad King Ludwig is taken a little bit farther with the bidding mechanism, and in terms of certain things being placed next to certain things, there's even more going on, and it's just building this kind of crazy castle. But ultimately, they are really sequels to each other, just with a different theme. And for all of these games that I've shown, sometimes I like the original, sometimes I like the sequel. And I find that interesting. In terms of Suburbia versus Castles, I like Suburbia better. In terms of Near and Far and Above and Below, I like Near and Far better. For Last Will and Prodigal's Club, I like the Prodigal's Club better. But with King Domino and Queen Domino, I actually like King Domino better. All of them, I like all the games, but there are sometimes I like the original better, sometimes I like the sequel better. And I think that's very similar to movies. Sometimes the sequel is like, whoa, it's so much better. You know, it really takes it to the next level, really gets on board. And sometimes the original, you're like, it's not the original was the better one. So I want to know from you, what are some sequel games out there that you know of? There's actually a lot. More and more I think about it, there's more and more that come up in my mind. And what are some of your favorites? Do you tend to like the original better? Do you tend to like the reimagining or the sequel better? How does it work out for you? I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments down below, or on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. So that's gonna be it for me. Until next time, whether you're the OG original or you are the sequel coming in like, new boy in town, remember, the more meta, the more better.
Hey, you just saw us in that video, and now here I am again. Why are you still here? Since we got you here, go ahead and check out Restoration Games. There's info for them in the description below, and they sponsor us. They're super cool and have great games. And there's also like things to click to subscribe to us, and this game is broken. There's videos. There's just more stuff to click so you can see more of this.